Camp near Atlanta, Georgia, July 26th, 1864. Well, Catherine, I again take my pen to write you a few lines to let you know that we are getting along. My health is good, and Company D is as well as usual. Joseph Moore was wounded on the 22nd in the leg, just above the ankle. On the 22nd, there was hard fighting all day between the Tennessee Army and Johnson, and the loss was heavy on both sides, but the rebel loss was a great deal the heaviest. The forests and fields were covered with the dead and dying rebels, and we took about 4,000 rebel prisoners. Our loss was about 3,000 in all, while the rebels' loss cannot be less than 8,000. Since the 22nd, all has been tolerably quiet. We are within shelling distance of Atlanta, and our guns throw a great many shells through the city. We are now strongly fortified, but how long it will take to get into Atlanta I cannot tell, but I hope it will not be long, for I am tired of this campaign. General McPherson was killed on the 22nd, and General George was wounded, and it is said that the rebels have lost several generals. McPherson was shot through the breast, George through the jaws. The days are now very hot and the nights very cool. We have no rain the last week, but we still have plenty to eat and a good appetite. But we are not very well off for clothing, and some are barefooted, some without coats and shirts and socks. But there is a better day coming, and we hope to live to see it. We are in the hopes that the summer will close the war and that those of us living will be at home in a year. I will now close my letter, hoping it will find you well and hearty. Write soon and direct before, and remember yours, E.J. Allton. Catharine Shick. I have no postage stamps and will have to send this unpaid. Black and blue, black and blue. Here's a health to the lassie with merry black eyes. Here's a health to the laddie with blue ones. And here's to first love as it sparkles and flies. And here's to the hearts that are true ones. Oh yes, to the hearts that are tender and true, with affection that nothing can smother, to the eyes of the one that are brilliant and blue, and the merry black ones of the other. Now mind you, my laddie, whose eyes are blue, that however the graces invite you, there is nothing for you in this world that will do, but a pair of black eyes to delight you. And mind you, my lassie, whose eyes are black, in a pair of blue eyes to discover that light of affection you should never lack, and you will always be true to your lover. Long, long shall your eyes sparkle back with a kiss to the eyes that live but to behold you. Long, long shall the charm of your mutual bliss in a heaven of splendor enfold you. For this is the thought of a poet wise, of a poet whose thoughts are true ones, that to look on a pair of merry black eyes is the life of a pair of blue ones. So within this letter, Erasmus details the death and the wounding of two generals and also includes a poem. The letters that I've selected focus on the different aspects of war. Alton wrote poetry to his future wife and giving distinct details about the war, which is something we don't really talk about that much. Like, a lot of these letters, as you'll find going through, have very explicit and in-depth details of the war that they would read about in the papers, but this is like a very personal aspect of war in a way. And to know that these letters contained poetry, and I was just really struck because the fact that he was going through so much and still, sent letters to his future wife, and the poetry, it just shows a kind of depth to his person and his character in a way that I could not fathom, given the circumstances and the things that he had seen. It's odd in a way to look at these letters and see him detailing dead and dying and losses and the loss of generals and the people that he's known and seen, and yet see poetry. It in a way shows the duality of the people fighting in these wars on both sides, that these are just people in fighting a war in which they believe certain things, and that's the way it documents the death of a general too, which I think is really cool. Personally, I don't know, this letter just kind of encapsulates what it means to be a human fighting in a war, I feel like, and the depth in which it goes. And in history, it's really interesting to have these case studies of individuals within a war still maintaining semblances of humanity despite seeing dead and dying people throughout the battlefields